Jumbo. Jumbo means hi. How you doing? What's happening? Happy 2020, 2021. That's where we are now, 2021. When you hear the sound of that heart, that juice heart, that's in honor of my Pop grows something. Oh man, Pop grows something. He sat on his porch. He sat in front of his house. He sat in his house every Sunday at 6 o'clock, telling a grounding story. Everybody in the village would come to Pop grows something. They say, Pop grows something, tell me a story. Just like today, they all came to Pop grows something. And when they came to my grandfather, Pop grows something, you know what he told them? He said, village. He said, remember the stories I told last year? Well, we've got to save the children. No matter what we do, we've got to save the children, because in 2020, our city village of Philadelphia had 499 murders by the gun. That's ridiculous. You can't even begin to fathom what that means to folks. This is our new year. We don't want to repeat the same thing. We don't want to go higher. We want to go lower. So what I'm doing the first Sunday of Groundings in 2021, I'm bringing you a special guest. She's been on Groundings before. Her name is Storytelling Irma. And Storytelling Irma, and we all face reality, you got to hear her story, hear her poem, and see what she's trying to do to keep the legacy of storytelling alive. I want you to listen to Storytelling Irma and give her that much respect. Thank you, Ashe.
I say, storytelling learners, come off of mute. Tell us your story. I see you with a storytelling learner. I need you to come off of mute. There you go.
Now, can you get me on so you can see me?
That's on your end, Mama.
I pressed the button, but it ain't coming up.
All right. Well, let's start with the story, and hopefully it'll come up. But
okay. Do you want to hear my grandson first, or do you want to hear me first?
However you want to hear me.
Okay. You ready to do? No. Maybe you'll be up by that time. Okay. Let me tell you about this. Starting the new year, we got to do better than we did last year. There's a river that runs through Philadelphia. The name of this story is A Heap See and a Few Know, because that's what Pop Grow Something told us. He always said a heap see, but a few know. Now, there's a river that runs through Philadelphia. It grows every day. The tide just gets wider. Now, the river is wide and it's getting wider. The river is deep and it's getting deeper. The river is not pretty. No, not by a long shot. Nobody fishes in it. Nobody swims in it. Some people even act like it's not even really there. It's salty, filled with tears of mothers, sisters, brothers, fathers who have weep because they've lost their loved ones. It is murky and dark, colored by the blood shed by those who have lost their lives by gunshot. It smells of sweat, and that comes from knowing our fears and our panics. It comes from thinking about the future. This river is about to overflow. This river is about to overflow from gunshot violence. We're anxious about it. Why must another mother cry? Why must another family suffer the pain? We're supposed to be the city of brotherly love. Well, where's the brotherhood? They have killed our brothers, our sons, our precious loved ones. They've killed a part of us. None of us are ever going to be the same. Sometimes we feel like we can't go on. We cling close to one another and we try to bond because there are things that we can't express openly. So we say them to one another. How can we express something that we thought would never happen to us? How can we express something that interrupted our lives so violently? The river is overflowing. The river is overflowing. The river is overflowing. We must stop the gun violence now. Oh, now you can see me. Okay. Can you hear me?
We hear you. We see you.
Oh, okay. You can see me now too? Okay. Good. Hope that keeps up. Now, before I go on, because I want my grandson to tell his poem. His name is Malachi, and he is 7. We must pass down our legacy to our children. They must know what's going on right here and now. Okay, Malachi, you ready to do My People?
Come on, Malachi. We're looking forward to you. 7 years old right here on ground.
Brilliant. They see you.
Hey, Malachi, how are you?
I'm perfect.
All right, that's good. Ready?
Go ahead.
My People. My People by Langston Hughes. The night is beautiful, so the faces of my people. The stars are beautiful, so the eyes of my people. Beautiful also the sun. Beautiful also are souls of my people.
Ashe.
Ashe.
I say thank you, Malachi. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. That's our young people. That's our future, y'all. That's why we got to get it right so that they can go. The young man said he was perfect. I understand that. So some people might have heard that and say, "Oh, that's whatever." No. Our children should have that sense of optimism, that sense of destiny, that sense of purpose at the age of 7 years old. They should still understand that they are that special and that perfect, and that's our job to deliver that sense of belief to them. Mama Irma, back to you.
He has a special connection with knowing what that poem that I just read means, because he lost an uncle to gun violence, my son, and he was very close. And sometimes it's hard to explain what's going on, but our children have to know. They really have to know the world that they live in today, and it's not easy.
I appreciate you for sharing. So I'm going to ask you and Pop Grosso, I'm going to start with you, Mama Irma. Our question for today for our listening audience, and I want you all to call in and have a dialogue, 215-634-8065. Again, that's 215-634-8065, toll free, 866-361-0900. And my question for today is, people always talk about New Year's resolutions. And if you want to share one, feel free. I'm not as focused on that. I really want to hear our last year learnings. We can talk about New Year's resolutions, but it doesn't mean anything if we're carrying forward and haven't really learned from the inordinate sacrifice that Black people were engaged in last year. Our men, our women, our elders, and our young people. I mean, it was just an unbelievable toll on our people. So what are we carrying forward? What are our last year learnings as we carry it forward into our new year resolve? So Mama Irma, share with us some things you're carrying forward from last year, 2020, into this new cycle.
Well, the main thing that I have learned is patience. We had to have a lot of patience to go through this stuff. Another thing that I've learned is truth. The truth is not always the truth as it's told by our media and those around us. In order to get that real truth, we have to go within, examine ourselves, and face that truth. So I think that those are the main two things I learned: patience and seeking the truth, and being able to stand up for that truth. Because sometimes we hear things and, oh no, that's just a theory, that's this, that's that. But you got to go deep within and find that truth and know what the truth really is. Examine you and find your own truth.
All right, I appreciate that. And before I forget, Mama Irma, because I'm gonna, I'm on this thing now about need to also honor our elders. I was just hanging out with a few people, and a sister named Sage the Poet mentioned you as one of her inspirations and people, and so I just wanted to say shout out to you. She lifted your name up earlier as an inspiration, so I just wanted to pass that on to you.
Who?
Sage the Poet.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I just want, since I have you right here, I wanted to pass that on. Your name came up in the conversation as somebody she respected and admired, and one of the elders she looks up to.
Oh, that's a blessing, because that's what we elders have to do. We have to be the kind of elders that, they'll say our names even when we're not there and remember something that we told them.
Well, your name was said today. I wanted you to know that. Pop Grosso. Everybody's saying your name, Pop. So share with us some of your last year learnings. And again, if you want to join our conversation, that'll be our focus today, 215-634-8065. We can all make resolutions and we can resolve to do something. But if we didn't learn, and I'm telling you, I say to people, this is a very serious question to me, because we paid Black people were under such assault last year. If we don't come through last year learning something from that experience that we're carrying forward to elevate and evolve from, then we were not doing justice to the price that was paid last year. So Pop, what's your last year learning?
All right, I got 3 things that I learned, Brother Shamari, last year. Pop knows something. Number 1, build my immune system.
Yes.
Work my immune system. eat the right foods, eat greens, eat chlorophyll, go get some sunshine, go get some fresh air, go get some exercise. I learned that. But eat right and eat the foods that's going to nourish your immune system. McDonald's won't do it. You got to go to the produce section, and you got to get those fresh vegetables, chop them up, eat them, get that chlorophyll, because these are the times that we're living in.
That Royal Farm chicken sandwich, that ain't doing it no more?
Ain't doing it no more. Don't go to Popeyes, brother. Don't go to Popeyes. I'm telling you. Watch out.
Or Royal Farms. You can't go to either.
Right. Royal Farm. Right. No, they ain't working. It ain't working. It ain't working. That's number one. The second thing I learned, and I learned this at the end, both of these, the last two and three, I learned this at the end of the year during the Kwanzaa that WURD had. Number two, with every principle, with the 7 principles, and hopefully we'll carry those principles forward until forever. We have to have action. It don't mean nothing without action. So I'm trying to put some action in my life. So by the time 2021 come, I can say, well, look, this is what I got. This is the action that I did. Number 3 is, this is the third thing, most important to me. I tried to tell some stories at Southwest when you had a Kwanzaa on Zoom. Zoom wouldn't let me in. I tried about 10 times, man. Went back and forth with you. Still wouldn't get in. That was Imani. Imani is faith. I was putting my faith in artificial intelligence in Zoom. And I found out it's the creator I got to put my faith in and not Zoom.
That's right. That's right. And I'm going to ask you both to mute because I'm hearing some background, but I thank you for those things. And one of the things I want to share with our listening audience, and again, that's our conversation today. If you want to join us, 215-634-8065. Again, 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900. I know a lot of people make resolutions around this time of year, but I'm wondering what you learned from last year. Because if we ain't learned from last year, we're in trouble, people. And one of the things, I'm going to drop a couple nuggets on you throughout. I'm going to start with that first nugget since Pop Grow Something kind of teased a little bit. If y'all saw that movie Book of Eli with Denzel Washington, and if you didn't see it, go check it out. Because I'm telling you, don't get caught. Don't get Book of Eli. And right now, and I'm saying to you through 2021, they're going to try to draw us in so deep into this artificial, digital, virtual world where everything we learn, all of our entertainment, all of our social relationships, all of our education, and trying to make it digitized. Think about this. What happens when we all come in and that becomes our sole priority way of relating with one another, of learning, of communicating, of becoming informed, and then a power beyond you decides that they just want to pull the plug on it? What do you do then? How do you learn? What do you read? What happens when you allow yourself to become totally digital, totally reliant on this kind of platform as your way of relating, and then the people who have control of this platform decide that they don't like what you're talking about, decide that they don't like how you look when you're talking about it, decide that whatever they want to decide, they have a reason now to pull the plug. And this has become, we're banking through this now. We're sending money through this. We're sending love and affection and education and information all through this digital platform. And I'm saying strategically use it. But if we allow this to become the sole way we communicate, we have literally given the power of our Black and African related space over to other people to control. And as Pop Grow Something experienced last night, and I've experienced throughout this year, there are just moments when they can make this whole, I was doing a radio show last week. Y'all know during Kwanzaa, the first day, and the second day, but the first day of the week, Monday. And my computer literally just shut down. I was off air for 30 seconds. Luckily, the producer played a lot of backup stuff. But that's the power that will be given over to people who don't have our best interests at heart if we allow this total digital space to become our new normal. So I'm saying to you, use it, but also make sure we got some alternatives and some other ways of resisting this. Remember the Book of Eli and get into the books. Figure out a way where we can connect with each other and social distance if needed. But we gotta not let them take our African Ankh life and replace it with their artificial life. Pop, Mama Irma, any final words before commercial break?
No, I'm gonna return 7:45 and introduce Irma again. But yeah, peace, everyone.
Mama Irma, any final words before commercial break? You're on mute. Mama, you give me your best stuff on mute. I need you to come off mute so we can hear you.
Unmute. Okay. See, they've been trying to silence me forever, but I won't be silenced. I will not. When I come back at 7:45, I want to give some more information out about organizations that have really helped and how we have to support those that help us and how we can be more of a support.
Well, I thank you all for joining us. When we come back, we'll go to our phone lines and call us. Again, please share if you have some lessons learned. What are your last year learnings as we move into your New Year resolutions? Because the power of your resolution is going to depend on what you're carrying forward in the space of learning. So let's delve into some last year learnings right here on Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari. Again, hit us up at 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900. And we will talk with you after these messages.
This message is from the Philadelphia Department of Public Health. COVID-19 is still a threat in our communities, but we can all do something simple to help stop the spread. It's critically important to wear a mask or face covering whenever you're in public or around others. Yes, even while social distancing. Wearing a mask shows you care for yourself and your community and is essential to slowing the spread of COVID-19. So love yourself, love your neighbors, wear a mask.
Groundings
with Brother Shamari
right now on WURD Radio
and WURDradio.com.
Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari. I am Brother Shamari, and today we'll be featuring movies. We'll be featuring music from Farafina. So if you want to know who I've been playing or will be playing, it'll be Farafina, different selections from that musical group. And again, our conversation right now is about lessons learned, y'all. I know we fixate on New Year's resolutions, but what are the lessons learned from 2020 that we need to carry forward and that you will carry forward? It's a personal conversation. I want to know you personally, what you learned from 2020 that you'll be carrying into 2021. Not necessarily a discourse about what Black people need to learn or what we as a collective need to know, but you personally, what 2020 was a special year, y'all. You know, I can't say it's the worst year ever or the best year ever. I can't weigh it. I just know it was a special year. So I'm curious, how do we make it worthwhile? What is it from all that we experienced? What learning will we carry forward to inform our walk into this new year, 2021? That's our question before you. Hit us up at 215-634-8065. Again, that's 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900. Let's go to the phone lines and welcome Brother Henry. Greetings.
Brother Shemai, thanks for taking my call, and happy Kwanzaa to you. I'm gonna try to answer that question to at a global level, a national level, and a local level. Globally, we learned that during this year that African countries really have to redefine themselves and analyze the way they deal with the war globally. You had a lot of Black people in China being mistreated, in other countries being blamed for the virus, things like that. So, and they were not able to get back to their countries at all, and their countries pretty much failed them. That's number one. At international level, I mean, we as African Americans, we realize that we are a colony within a nation, you know. And we have to figure out a way where we can connect with our own and create our own path. And then at the local level, this is something that you preach a lot. We really have to get control of our children and re-educate our children so we can reset a different path for them when as the future goes on.
All right, I appreciate it. Give me a personal level. So we went global, national, local. Give me a personal Hindi learning. It's just turning intention into action.
All right. You know, turning intention into action. Really try to turn your intention, whatever positively, whatever things you need to do, into action to help. You know, I did that, but I'm going to do it at a larger level, at a more advanced level.
All right. Appreciate your call, Brother Henry. Appreciate it. Again, if you want to join in, 215-634-8065, toll free 866-361-0900. We're talking about last year learnings that inform whatever New Year's resolve and resolution you want to bring forward. Let's go to Galen. Galen, line 2, greetings.
Greetings, my brother.
How you doing?
Wow, this is great to be on. Well, I'm just going to stick with what I've been sticking to for the last few years. I don't go in Dominican stores. I don't support Chinese people, and I don't support dot-heads.
What was the last one you said?
The dot-heads, which are Indians, who people that despise us and the same color as us.
Okay. So that's your learnings, or is that? Tell me your learning that you're carrying forward. Like a lot happened in 2020. What did you carry forward as far as learning from it?
To stay away from people that don't believe in themselves.
That's good.
Stay away from people just arrogant towards spiritual livelihood. And I'm blessed to have a job where I work at night, where I'm not around anyone, and I live in an apartment where I'm on a floor where no one is. So I'm pretty blessed. And I just had a friend of mine who worked for SEPTA 30 years who passed of this 19, which I'm real skeptical about it, but I'm like the brother that was on earlier. I eat a lot of green vegetables every day. I don't do the meat thing, and I support my supermarket, but like I said, I don't do none of these fast food, Popeyes, none of them, and I don't stand in line waiting for food to go in these Asian stores to buy their food because they don't even eat the food, and that's what really bothers me.
Okay, so it sounds like you learned a lot about self-care and self-protection.
Oh, no question about it. I'll be 65 next month, and I've been all over the world playing basketball, the Globetrotters and all that, and I've learned. And
All right.
one thing about Samari is our people. They won't give up. They every day they drink 211s. I live around 22nd area. They're out drinking 211s, supporting the Koreans who just laugh at us and they buy their cars. And I tell you, I love
I hear you.
Keep China out of here. But no, as long as you got these ignorant black people, uneducated, that won't listen to anything, constantly supporting these Chinese people, we're going downhill.
All right, my brother, I appreciate it. I appreciate your vitality, and I definitely take the lesson about self-care and self-protection. And I think that, we got to learn to value ourselves more so that we can take our self-protection more seriously. Mama Nzinga, line 3, greetings.
Yes, happy New Year. I just want to say self-care is very important, because if we don't care for ourselves, then we have nothing. That goes down to how we deal with the Creator, spending time with the Creator, spending time with ourselves in meditation, and then the sacredness of people. Some people I didn't see again. The sacredness of our time, the sacredness of people. Just, call them back. Please call them back, because they're gone. In the twinkling of an eye, they're gone. Jamari, I lost too many friends.
Yeah.
Too many people. Please value each other. And I've been taught that by this year. So it meant it before, but now it's just incredible. That's it, Self-care, the sacredness of people and our time.
Mama Nzinga, while I have you on the line, I have a question. Because, one of the things I learned this year to add to my list, a renewed respect for the role of elders in our community. And I learned that we as a black community, we haven't really been respecting that role and those people we call elders at the level we should. But I also I've learned that our elders, how do I phrase this? I feel like our elders need to really engage in an intentional act, and I don't care whether people like each other personally or not. I think our elders have to figure out how to come together and present as a unified front of black elders in the city of Philadelphia. And whatever personal gripes and stuff people have, I learned that the younger generation, and when I say younger, I'm talking about people in my age, 50s, 40s, 30s, who are really trying to figure out how we stand in our culture and red, black, and green and our revolutionary fervor. We feel like we're standing sometimes on unstable ground because our elders are not walking in the power and the unity that we would hope that they would walk in. So I'm wondering that's a lesson that I learned. I learned that we don't respect our elders at the level of power that I think we should, but I also learned that our elders are not walking in that power and walking in that power collectively at the level that they should. I'm wondering your thoughts about that.
Well, only thing I can say, Willie Lynch did a good job. We have to do a better job than Willie Lynch. We have to value each other and showing that each other in solidarity. Some of us do, but a lot of us have been homogenized. Our minds have changed from that Black United Front, a lot of us, not all of us. There's a group, there's plenty that's still thinking on that oneness, that one black fist. A lot of us still thinking on that line that we are strong together. But we have separated, unfortunately, a lot from each other because of capitalism and all this fake stuff.
And that's why I try to highlight and spotlight elders as much as I can on this platform, because I really believe that if our people turn away from that informed, wise elder voice, we'll be walking down the wrong path. But I also know our elders have to really be intentional about coming together, and reconciling a lot of stuff and coming together as a united force that really our people can see as the exemplary elders that we need and the path that we need to follow. So I thank you for weighing in on that with me, Mama Nzinga. Let's go to Jean from Chester, line 1. Jean, talk to me.
Hi, good evening, Brother Shamari and the WURD family. What I've learned over the past 12 months, one thing is being health conscious, being financially conscious, mentally and emotionally, also not taking our loved ones for granted,
Yep.
Trying to be more of a community, a community of family, even if you're not blood related, not sweating the small stuff, being more patient, listening more to our youth instead of having, the thought, okay, you listen to what I say goes, that doesn't work anymore with the young people. Allowing them to have a voice as well.
Any particular experiences that got you into that last point that you mentioned? Any particular, like I said, any particular experiences or phenomena that happened?
In regards to the youth?
Yes.
Yes, with my 13-year-old grandson. His father, which was actually my nephew, but I raised him. His father passed away later this year, and we, because of the deterioration of his body being in the river for 5 days, we weren't able to have a final viewing of him. And with that, my grandson / nephew had gone through a lot of, mental challenges. And when they start to get on the defense and speaking out of turn, what I internalized as being disrespectful to an elder.
Right.
Until he explained to me what he was feeling inside in regards to losing his father.
Yes. I appreciate you for sharing that with us, and I think that is sage wisdom and sound advice, and that's what we're seeking. What are the lessons learned? 2020. It's definitely a year that's going to go down in some record books. It definitely was a year that, for me, I don't even know how to explain it, to be honest with you, but it was, and the question is, it was an unbelievable sacrifice that we as Black people have paid, whether it's about COVID and the loss, particularly of a lot of Black elders due to COVID, whether it's about the racial violence and the racial unrest and the social justice protests, whether it's about the fact that many of our children didn't get a chance to graduate in the right way. Like, a lot was taken from people in 2020. The world pivoted in a lot of ways for people. And so my question is, what is it that we're going to take? What learnings? What learnings are we going to take from all that happened to us so that we can use those learnings to inform how we move powerfully forward? One of the learnings for me is a new respect for the role of eldership. I think that our elders were just under duress and assault last year. And elders, I use a word that they're using in policy circles now called hollowing out. There's definitely a hollowing out of Black men that happened, hollowing out of Black eldership that happened. And I think that if we don't really address and reconcile that hollowing out in a very intentional way, we're going to manifest the wounds and the hurt and the pain from that down the line. And so I want to create spaces where we have these conversations. So again, what is your last year lessons that inform your New Year's resolutions? I want to focus on the last year's lessons. What do you take forward from 2020 to move more powerfully and more intentionally and more purposefully into 2021? If you want to share your thoughts, hit us up now at 215-634-8065. Again, that's 215-634-8065. Toll free, 866-361-0900. I also want to talk about a lesson I learned, that we cannot become overly dependent on this virtual, digital, artificial space as our primary means of communication, information, relationship, education, political information. I don't care what you want to call it. This new normal can't become our new normal, because we really don't have control over these channels, over this infrastructure, over this apparatus. And at any point, this can't be the primary way you exchange, even in money. So we're going to have to really begin to figure out other ways. I don't even call them alternatives, man. This needs to be our alternative. I'm going to say that again. They're trying to make this our new normal. What I learned is that this, when I say this, I'm talking about this digital, virtual, artificial space. This needs to be our alternative if we're Black people. And we need to create a new, our own new normal, of which this is not it. We got to create a new way of relating, a new way of understanding, a new way of information sharing, a new way of resource sharing, a new way of communication that is our primary way. And we only deal in this virtual, digital, fake, artificial space as an alternative. And that alternative needs to be strategic. I want to offer that as a learning as well. So again, looking out for your learnings, 215-634-8065. Toll free, 866-361-0900. I learned that your going out is as important as your coming in. And your coming in, how we welcome new life, is just as important as our going out. We were talking through after these messages.
The WURD Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting WURDradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax-Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio newsletter.
Groundings
with Brother Shamari.
Right now on WURD Radio
and WURDradio.com.
Conversations with Brother Shamari, and today we're talking lessons learned, last year lessons to carry forward into your New Year's resolve. So let us know what you learned. A lot went on last year, 2020, this year that many of us couldn't wait to get out of here. Started out, you know, we all looking into 2020 as the year of perfect vision and so much insightful kind of expectations for 2020. And then by the time we got near the end of 2020, people was like, yo, this is like the worst year ever. I can't wait for this year to get out of here. So, okay, a lot happened, no doubt. But the question is, what are we going to carry forward? What did we learn from all that happened? Hit us up at 215-634-8065. Again, that's 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900 if you're in a position to share your learnings. I'm going to read a couple that I got from Facebook Live, and then afterwards I'm going to actually hear from my young producer, see what the young folks are saying. So I'm going to check in with Sister Ngakia when I get a chance. But right now, if I do this right, I'm going to go to Facebook Live. And actually, I'm not. I need a couple minutes to do that. But I want to read from a couple of the postings that people have put up on Facebook Live. But while I'm getting that queued up, because, of course, I'm unorganized, I want to remind you to give us a call at 215-634-8065. Again, that's 215-634-8065. Toll free, 866-361-0900. We're asking for your last year learnings. So I want to read a couple from our Facebook Live post. I won't read the names, I'll just share the comments. I read one that says, I suggested to my grandniece to have 3 banks for my great-grandniece, one for saving, one for sharing, and one for spending. Another one says, my siblings and me have a group text where we address each other daily. They are in Philly and I am in Los Angeles, California, cooking everything from scratch. I put tools to help me in the kitchen, a blender, spiralizer, I don't even know what a spiralizer is, and salad spinner to help with my healthy eating. Stopped eating fast food over 25 years ago. Learn to respect boundaries and not let folks cross them when they are not positive. Someone likes what Pop is saying. And it caught the reference that I was making a book of Eli. I'm telling y'all, don't give away your books. You might need them. Might be the only way you're going to be able to get some information at some point. So again, hit us up with your lessons learned at 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900. I don't know if you can hear me, Sister Ngakia, but I'm curious, 2020, what are you carrying forward as a lessons learned from 2020?
Man, I knew you would. I was preparing for this because I knew that you were going to ask me.
That's right. I always put people on the spot.
I've said this before, but I think one thing that I've learned from 2020 was to communicate more. I unfortunately have lost a lot of people this past year, especially towards the end, and it was full of a lot of regret for me because I was like, some of these people I saw a week before and, you know, didn't even engage in conversation like I could have or should have, and, you know, or a lot of the times it was like, okay, I'm thinking about texting this person or emailing this person or whatever, and I didn't do it, and, you know, that person ended up passing away. And
wow.
Yeah, and it was really tough, and I've always been told I'm a poor communicator, so this year I really, really want to make sure that if I think about someone, I immediately text them or call them, even if I don't have anything to say. Just the fact that they cross my mind should mean something. Like, it really sucks that this is the way that I learned it, but definitely want to communicate more and reach out to my loved ones as much as possible.
Let me ask you a question in general. I mean, you know, you're not the expert on your generation, but I'm curious as to whether 2020 you feel has taken any particular toll on your generation as a whole. Like, do you find that your generation might be, like, for instance, a little more fearful, a little more a little more somber, a little less enthusiastic, a little more enthusiastic? Is there a general sense of how this year has impacted those of you who are in your early 20s?
Yeah, we're a little more angry. I would definitely say we're a little more angry. This pandemic, it really has shown us, I mean, all of the underlying issues, especially within this country. This pandemic has only manifested them. So the people who never had to deal with a lot of the, especially like racial issues, for instance, like people who never had to see any of that, like this pandemic really like showed them, like you can't ignore it after this pandemic. You can't ignore it after, you know, all of the protests and everything. Like this pandemic, it's not like these things just started happening because the pandemic, like this pandemic, it not only manifested or like showed all of these things, but it really, you know, it like multiplied it, you know, because if you don't deal with injustice at its roots, it's only going to manifest itself in different ways. And you see it through this pandemic and this generation. You can't get away from that, especially when we see it. Like we weren't able to go anywhere. We only have our phones. We only had our laptops, you know, so we saw it in the news. We saw it on social media. You cannot get around it. And it seems like the more we say, hey, this is bad, this is wrong, it's like nothing's being done. And we're getting a little more impatient now, and very, very angry. I would definitely say that's the general consensus of this generation, is we're really angry, very impatient now.
I have one more question for you. You might not be able to answer it, but I want you to take a crack at it if you can. You know, the news really didn't focus at all on Africa during this COVID time. It was a very peripheral, kind of perfunctory, kind of hit or miss thing. Any idea of how, and you can't speak for the whole continent, but how Africa and Africans in general in 2020 have dealt with this, all of these different phenomena? Just any kind of report from the motherland, perspective from the motherland regarding COVID in 2020 and racial justice that you could offer?
Well, I mean, my parents are still in contact with family there, and luckily it has not been as bad in Guinea as it is in the United States. In terms of the pandemic, in Guinea right now, there is a lot of political turmoil, though, you know, so again, like this pandemic is just like compounding a lot of the existing issues, especially political issues that are happening in a lot of these nations, you know, like, so it is pretty difficult. And also the vaccines are not being made accessible to these places as quickly as it is being made in the United States. And
well, that might end up being a good thing, I have to say.
Yeah,
we don't know yet.
Yeah, exactly, because we're still kind of, I at least am hesitant about the vaccine, and I want to see, I really want to see, you know, how it plays out because obviously the Black community, we have a horrible record. Just because of everything that has happened, we've become like testing subjects for in the Western world when it comes to vaccines and medications, and yet we will never have accessibility when it's proven. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say, when it's like proven to be effective, and after all of it, we don't even have accessibility to it in the end. So it really, like, that's what I'm saying. This pandemic has just manifested all of these inequalities. There's nothing new here, and even in the African continent, it just compounded a lot of the existing issues there.
Well, I thank you for sharing, my young sister. That is Sister Ngakia Kamara. She's the producer of Sundays for Groundings, Evolutions, and Elevations. We're coming up on a commercial break, y'all. When we come back, we're going to take some time, listen to a little bit more music, but I really want to hear from you, your lessons learned. It's our final segment to be able to entertain your lessons learned. At 7:20, we'll be hearing from our good brother, Mlimu Waset, talking about the spirit of the drum. And then after that, we'll be closing out, hand off to David Barnes, and letting us know what's coming up on the New World View. And then we'll hear our final story from Pop Pop know something. So if you want to share your last year learnings that lead to your New Year's resolve, now's your time. Hit us up at 215-634-8065. Again, that is 215-634-8065. Or toll free, 866-361-0900. When we come back, we'll hear a little bit more music from Fina and hopefully a lot more conversation from you. Stay tuned.
Livelihood, the new initiative from WURD Radio, connecting Philadelphians to jobs, entrepreneurship opportunities, small business resources, and financial literacy. Visit WURDworks.com right now and take the next step in your professional journey. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network. Groundings With Brother Shamari.
right now on WURD Radio.
And WURDradio.com.
Ila ila
And welcome back to Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari. And as I said to you, we've been featuring the music of Farafina. And Ngaka, you got to let me know what that song is, because I got to play that when we get off the air. So I know what I'm listening to tonight. Can you tell me the name of that one?
That one is called Mama Sara. So MAMA space SARA.
Mama Sara, all right. No Sarah Lomax Reese, that's not your song. It's Mama Sara. I think they made it before they knew you were born, but it's all good if you want to claim it. Welcome back to Grounders, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari. And again, if you want to call in your last year's learnings, that's what I'm looking out for. 215-634-8065. Again, that is 215-634-8065, toll free. 866-361-0900. Before we jump back to the phone lines, I want to read a couple more Facebook comments. I always like good news, so I'm going to read this one. It says, Brother Shamari, I've always gleaned very enlightening, thought-provoking wisdom from your shows. However, and I got nervous. I read that however. I was like, uh-oh. Then it said, the past 2 weeks were extraordinarily phenomenal. Wow, extraordinarily phenomenal. I don't know if I've ever heard those words before. In regards to realizing our true history and culture, please continue your love and passion for educating our people. I appreciate those words, and we're going to keep it going right here on Grounders. That's what we're trying to do. So in that spirit, again, here's your chance, 215-634-8065, toll free 866-361-0900. Let's go to B from Delaware.
Habari Ghani and Happy New Year, Brother Shamari, Sister Ngakia, Worldwide WURD, and Lomax family. Special kudos to Sarah Lomax Reese and the WURD producers and host who kept us informed, connected, and focused through the 2020 worldwide pandemics of COVID, social uprisings, economic collapse, election insanity, the demise and takedown of the tyrant in the White House, the tyrants in Congress, the insulting light check of $600, and the tyranny of the police who continue to take the lives of our children and dismiss our humanity. We thank you, the WURD family. We love you, and we thank you so very, very much. WURD family, please get and renew your membership so that we can stay informed and connected and focused on what is really important to our survival in 2021 and beyond. Brother Shamari, that comment you read is so apropos. The last 2 weeks of your show have been awesome. Sometimes, occasionally, I'll call in and tell you, you have a tribe, and your tribe is large. But the beauty of Friday's show to see not only is your tribe large, it is worldwide, just as your audience. We love you, we respect you, and we have grown and gained so much from you and your most recent efforts to rechannel our inner selves as a collective so that we can come together to focus. But what I learned, some of the lessons I learned from last year was the love for my family, my people, cultural heritage, and legacies. That it is time, past time, to give the young people their seat at the table, that we must be able in future to punish those who betray the collective progress and well-being of our people for favor and trinkets among those who are adverse to our collective interests, that when we focus intergenerationally on the well-being and best interests of the collective, we can achieve whatever we set our minds to. We must never go back to their normal, and we must, as you have been teaching us for the last few months, begin to forge the new reality. They say it takes 3 weeks to break or gain a new habit. We've had 9 months to break loose from all of the nonsense. When we go back to their normal, there's not a place for us in it, because contrary to what people think, Yes, we must continue to mask, social distance, wash our hands, and protect ourselves. But this pandemic has been weaponized to change our behavior, forge their new reality. And I agree with you, we cannot rely on their digitalization and weaponization of technology to turn us into automatons. We cannot do that. We must go back to our village and forge our new reality in the village, and we must hold those who claim to be our spokesmen accountable for making sure that their goal is the betterment of the collective. I have learned and enjoyed you so much. You know I am a part of your village. You know that your village is large. It extends worldwide, and we will be here throughout 2021 giving you the same blessings that you have brought to us throughout your service on the radio. We love you. We thank you. God bless you all, and happy 2021 to the entire WURD family.
Thank you, Mama B from Delaware. Let's go to Eric. I think it's Eric from New Orleans. If not, he'll let us know. Line 2, greetings.
Yeah, God bless you, good brother. How you doing?
What's up, Eric from New Orleans? How are you?
Oh, yeah, happy blessed New Year to you. Yeah, what I've been dealing with in my own self, I get very excited when I see our people dressed in their African attire and wearing their natural hairstyles and feeling good about themselves, like you had mentioned earlier, having confidence in themselves, But when I see individuals with, with the long blonde hair, I know down here that some black women are starting to wear long blonde hair again, weaves and wigs and the long eyelashes. It just really sets me back, and I get disappointed. But I'm saying I'm trying to maybe I'm being too superficial. Maybe I shouldn't be so hard on them, and I should have more compassion with the struggle that they're having to accept themselves. So that's something that I learned this year, that I have to try to be a little more understanding for individuals who are trying to accept their blackness, in conflict with my zeal and happiness for seeing blacks who do exert that sense of self-confidence and express in the way in terms of how they carry themselves and how they dress, how they wear their hairstyles and those sorts of things. So that's the type of thing I'm battling right now. So.
Right. So the learning is around being more compassionate or extending compassion.
Yes, toward those who are still coming along and accepting themselves. That lack of self-acceptance among some blacks, I guess I need to have more patience towards them, and maybe I should not be. I'm not sure if I'm being superficial about it, but I just get this. It's just like sort of grates my nerves to see these beautiful black women putting on blonde wigs and blonde hair extensions and the long eyelashes. Is not being. To me, they're not being who they are. And it just sort of gets me when I see that kind of look, when I see it not being themselves. None of us are, but that's the thing I'm battling with. So.
Yeah, that's an interesting conversation, man, about a lot of things for me. I think that trying to follow whatever the guidelines are, and when they shift so often, it's kind of an interesting thing. One of my other learnings I add to the mix, building on what you said, and I appreciate your offering, Brother Eric. It's like I learned that we don't have a black code. Like there's no clarity for real around what the guideposts are for our people to guide our collective actions. And so what's right in one space is frowned upon in another space. It's indifferent in another space, and it make everybody mad in another space. And it goes back, I think, to what I'm saying about this thing of what we miss when we don't really affirm, esteem, and put our elders in the right place. Like the clarity, man, we're not a very clear people. So everybody's doing their thing based on their impulses and their rules. And so you'll be in one circle, and these are the rules, and people are really vigilant and diligent about the rules. And then over here, it's a different set of rules, a different set of expectations. People with a lot of impulse and feeling, a lot of personal desire. It's your thing, do what you want to do. And you're wrong if you're not agreeing with me, and you're right if you agree with me. But how are we right? Because it's the principally right thing to do. So another thing I learned is, like, we don't really have a very clear kind of code of conduct, a set of guiding principles that we've all agreed with and are abiding by. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. I think that that's up for an interesting conversation. I want to read something just for everybody, building on this issue about this artificial digital new normal stuff and why I feel like we need to be careful. I'm going to go on record. This is my prognostication. I think that we as Black people need to batten down our hatches, because if we don't pivot in a very intentional way, there's going to be a very strong challenge for us. I don't know that 2021 is going to get better just because it's no longer 2020. We have to do some different stuff as a people. We're going to have some tough conversations and some really come to each other accountability sessions. Because I think that there are 5 areas, and really 6, that I think we need to pay attention to, because they're going to be used to usher in the new normal into our spaces. So I just want to read a Facebook post, and your thoughts about this would be appreciated at some point, maybe not today, but going down the line. Because I believe that there are some things that are in the air that are going to be exacerbated in our spaces as a way to usher in this new normal. Let me give you an example. I can't remember the year, but I was working in high schools. I was working in Simon Gratz High School, among others, and the shooting happened in Aurora, Colorado. They call it the Columbine High School shooting. And there were several, if you all recall, within that 2-year period, there were several shootings that happened in high schools that were in relatively affluent white suburban areas throughout the nation. But somehow we looked up, and the metal detectors and the whole new process of entering schools and uniforms became a conversation in Black spaces. The same places where the shootings happened, the metal detectors and the uniforms didn't. Somehow it became prevalent in Black spaces, even though the shootings and the violence happened in white spaces. So I want to put this canary in the coal mine kind of trigger out there for us to pay attention to. Because we've said goodbye to 2020, but make no mistake about it, if we don't pivot our perspectives and correct our course, 2021 will reap as much destruction and havoc as 2020, the year that was. And so I'm going to go on record and give you 5 areas that we need to pay attention to, because I believe that if we're not careful and not intentional, these will be the areas that will be used to justify increased surveillance, increased new normals, increased digital, increased whatever the imposition of the new normal is. These areas are going to be used to lead the way. Number 1, pay attention to this inordinate level of crime, violence, police abuse, stuff that's happening in Black communities and Black cities. Because the narrative in 2020 will be to use these unsolved crimes, these heinous crimes, many of them going to be committed by Black men. They're going to get worse. You're going to start seeing, probably children being killed, elders being killed. The crime is going to be exacerbated. The violence is going to be exacerbated, because that's one of the windows that they'll then come to the Black community and get us to acquiesce to increase hyper-surveillance in our neighborhoods. Go back and study what happened in 1992, 93, 94, 95, 96 under Bill Clinton, when Black people began to say, hey, we can't handle this crack epidemic. We need you, the state, to come in and take it. And then we ended up with the mandatory minimums and the 3 strikes you're out. And you looked up, and in a 20-year period, more Black bodies, and Black men in particular, were taken out of the Black community and put in prison facilities than in the history of the United States combined, under any other president. Watch how crime, violence, policing, the murders, the homicide rate will be used as a way of ushering in our acceptance of the new normal. Pay attention. The educational digital divide, number 2. this kind of idea now that Black children need to have better access to the internet and to digital this because it's the new way of learning. But also when you offer that into the house, you bring Comcast, Xfinity, Wi-Fi, all of these services into the home for free, you now have surveillance inside of your house. The way I'm communicating with you all right now on this camera through this computer, trust me, this computer is listening to everything I said, and within an hour of me signing off of this show, I'm going to be inundated with different offers and Facebook ads and all kind of ads that have a direct correlation to the very topics I've been talking about on air. It happens all the time. They'll have a book that they should suggest I read. They'll have musical suggestions based on the music they hear us playing right now. I've seen it happen with my own eyes. So these devices, Alexa and whoever else, whatever names you got for them, all that's doing is taking the surveillance capacity that you have outside on the streets and literally bringing it inside into your home. Child welfare, juvenile justice, and DHS, in-home and community imposition. You're going to see a lot more, instead of sending people away for out-of-home placement, out-of-school placements, incarceration, you'll see a lot more people with digital monitoring systems, ankle bracelets and stuff. You're going to have in-community detention. Instead of sending people away, it's like, look, I can tase you with a button now. You got an ankle monitor, you got Fitbit stuff. I can literally send shockwaves by touching a button. I can know everywhere you went. I no longer have to pay case managers or parole officers because you are literally a walking, talking surveillance system in and of yourself. So I can move all of the child welfare, juvenile justice, DHS compliance stuff right into your own home and literally monitor you from a computer if I choose. Medical apartheid and malfeasance. You're going to have, between the vaccines and medical treatments, this mad rush. I mean, COVID is just the beginning. They're going to start to develop vaccines and medical treatments for everything imaginable. This idea that you're going to be getting, probably mandated to get 2 and 3 different forms of vaccines every year for the rest of your life now. It's just something that's going to be a part of this new normal and another way of ushering this in. I remember back in the day, my Bible wrote a book called Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And it was talking about this time where between vaccines and medical treatments, we're going to get to the point where we're literally inviting people who we know are our enemies, people who we know are eugenicists, people who we know are anti-Black, and we're going to give them permission to inject all kind of stuff. We don't even know what's in half of the stuff that's being injected into us. But again, this is what happens when you play by other people's new normals and other people's rules. You know, this is what we do, and this is what we've been reduced to. But pay attention, because this stuff will be in hyperdrive in 2020. This 2021. This will be escalated as a way of really having Black communities as the canaries in the coal mines. They're going to come through the Black spaces first. That's why they were pushing this vaccine in Black spaces. They're going to test a lot of this stuff in our spaces and on us before it becomes the new normal for the rest of the nation. And that's why everybody's on edge. The white nationalists and them know what they're fighting against. They understand. They've been fighting against this for a while. We're the ones who are very sleep about what the implications of this stuff are. And last but not least, media, communication, information. Understand, if this is the primary way that we who are engaged in Black nationalism, cultural nationalism, radicalism, reparations, revolutions, whatever you want to call it. Black identity extremism is what they call it, by the way. If this is the primary way that we have been reduced to organize, to inform, to educate, to agitate, then what we've essentially done is said, I'm going to come directly to the NSA, the FBI, the CIA, the Department of Defense, and I'm going to lay out in front of them everything I believe, everything I'm about, everything I want them to know. Because that's all this is. All of this technology, all of it emanates first from the Department of Defense. That's where it's tested, that's where it's ideated, that's where it's actualized, and then it's made mainstream. So trust me, between crime, violence, and policing, educational digital divide, child welfare, juvenile justice, DHS, medical apartheid and malfeasance, between media, communication, information, education, we are literally walking into a new normal that will calcify and literally put a noose around any form of our resistance. That's my lessons learned from last year. How we take that into 2021 and do something about it is the seminal question that we as the Black community and Black people must begin to answer very seriously. You can't win a revolution and shelter in place at the same time. Last but not least, gentrification, neighborhoods, promise zones, smart cities. Go look those terms up, because that is the nexus and the matrix of this forthcoming technocratic terror dome. America's Lines, Brother Shamari. This is Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari. I put you on alert so you can't say you didn't know. Now the question, like Pop said earlier, what are we going to actually do? What actions are we going to take? What are we going to do about what we know? We got some choices to make between cowardice and courage as we define our journey forward. Come up on the commercial break, and we will talk with you after these messages.
Our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
WURD.
Groundings
With Brother Shamari.
right now on WURD Radio.
And WURDRadio.com.
back to Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari. Want to jump right back to the phone lines and welcome Friendly Fred to the conversation. Greetings, good afternoon. Good afternoon, good evening, Friendly Fred. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Barely, but go ahead.
Oh, I just want to say, but you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. That's all I had to share.
All right, Friendly Fred, I thank you for sharing. Again, we're asking lessons learned coming out of 2020, going into 2021. Let's go to Brother David Barnes. He's also going to share his lessons, but also let us know what's going on in that new world view coming up right after Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari. So keep your dial locked right here, WURD Radio, 96.1 FM, 900 AM for the new world view coming up at 8 o'clock right after Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations. Brother David Barnes, how are you?
That's my mic on. Yes, I'm back. Peace and Black Power, Brother Shamari. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty all right, sir. Can't complain.
Good. I feel actually very empowered this year.
All right, talk a little bit more about that, sir.
Well, you know, I'm feeling empowered because of listening to you explaining to us that we all need to reclaim our power. You know, reclaim the power that we have within us. So, like when I was studying under Iyanla Vanzant, she said, reclaim that your spirit. So now I've got the spirit, now I'm getting the power.
I hear that. What's a key lesson you learned from 2020, Bob? I think that hopefully we learned that we live in a terror dome and that there are strategies that we have to deploy to navigate the terror dome with some power. Which one of those learnings you going to bring forward?
Well, I'm actually looking forward to continue to communicate with the people, trying to enlighten them, inform them so they can make the right choices, because life is all about choices. You know, you can make a good choice or a bad choice, but I'm about trying to educate them on making the right choices so that they can become empowered themselves, free themselves, and be themselves. You know, because as long as you're trying to be somebody else, you ain't going to ever be yourself. Like Kenny Gamble used to say, no matter where you go, there you are.
I hear that, my brother. Sounds like wise learning. And so let our people know what they can look forward to on this evening's rendition and edition of the New World View.
Yes, and actually, you know, this being the first Sunday of the new year, you know, we're going to be talking to Professor Carl Tone Jones and also Phil Washington in the 10 o'clock hour. But I've actually invited all of my co-hosts, if they are available, to call into the show, you know, give some reflections on what they thought about last year and some of the things that they look forward to doing this year. I'm actually looking forward to expanding our program, going into Africa. You know, we're getting some equipment, and you know, I think that this show is so very much needed on the continent, probably more than it is here in America. So you know, we're going to try to expand and continue to teach.
All right, so let us know some of the voices we can look forward to hearing from this evening on this show. When you have, it seems like you're going to have a potpourri of all of your guests and different people from the last year. So what are some of the voices people can look forward to?
Well, I'll just go along with you because we have a really deep bench. You know, on the first Sundays of the month, we have Professor Carl Tone Jones and Phil Washington. They'll be calling in tonight. Then on the second Sundays, we have the very well sought after Dr. Umar Abdul Johnson. Then we have on the third Sunday, we have Janina Carter. Says she'll be calling in, giving her year-end review. She writes a year-end review every year for the newspapers that she writes for. And Michael A. Griffin, CEO of Ashanti Produce International, as well as Honorary Consul General to Namibia, will be calling in to talk about some of the things that, with his Africa Matters segment, talk about things that are going on in Africa. And, you know, they just had an election in Ghana, the presidential election. So we're going to be talking about those things. And also Sabir Bey, who's out in Los Angeles, California. I don't know where he might be. Also, I talked to him today. He said he's in Chicago. So he'll be calling in and talking about, you know, he's our roving correspondent all over the country, Sabir Bey. He'll be calling in as well. So we looking forward to having a very good conversation. We're just going to throw it around, toss it around, see what comes up.
All right, and that is Brother David Barnes. The New World View comes on right after Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari. That's the 8 o'clock hour, so keep your dial locked right here, WRD Radio 96.1 FM 900 AM. Coming up on the commercial break, when we come back, we'll close out with our final story. Pop broke. Pop knows something, and friends, featuring today's storytelling Irma. We will talk with you after these messages.
The Word Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on Word Radio. Messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese. Exclusive articles and multimedia content and resources. Stay informed with the Word Radio newsletter. Groundings with Brother Shamari. Right now on Word Radio and wordradio.com.
Farafina, ça veut dire la peau noire.
Farafina means black skin. Every black African is Farafi and Farafina. Farafina is a black African continent.
And welcome back to the final segment segment of Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari. I gotta admit to y'all today, I'm feeling this week, man. I'm tired. I'm glad I made it through this show. I'm glad I get a couple of days to really kind of relax and regroup. Appreciate the station for a full week of Kwanzaa programming, and just really shout out to WURD Radio. Shout out to the Teaching Artists Institute. Shout out to the Global Sheroes. Shout out to all Pop Grow Something and all the different storytellers that he lined up for the different days of the Groundings episode, as well as that fantastic Keepers of the Culture full 3 hours of storytelling. So since last Friday and then Sunday and then Monday and Tuesday and Thursday and Friday and Sunday of consistent programming in the spirit of Kwanzaa and then Gujo Saba, I'm going to take a well-earned rest after this episode and this segment closes out. So what I want to do is hand it off to none other than Pop knows something, and he can introduce our final story for today from Storytelling Irma. Pop, take it away.
For my Pop Grow Something. You know, when he got finished with Shamari and telling stories at Groundings and to the village, he was Pop Knows Something. So Pop Grow Something transformed itself to Pop Knows Something. So what Pop know is that number one, if none other, we got to stop killing each other. We don't want to call it black on black crime, but us on us got to stop killing each other, because we're wiping out our generations. We causing a lot of grief in our family. We don't want to tell those stories. Those stories can be told. There's a group of storytellers called Drop Squad 99, and they tell stories about that, stories of the war zone. So we can't have that. So I'm going to bring you Storytelling Irma to finish telling her story, because she experienced it firsthand. Her son was killed in the streets of Philadelphia. She can tell you more about it. So for that, I say, let's get some peace. And stop killing one another. Storytelling Irma, you home.
Okay. I want to tell you my personal story, but before I tell you that, I have 3 more lines from my grandson, who's also involved in this, because this year we've had mask with the COVID. So he's learning a pen bar called the mask. So he's going to tell you that, and then I'm going to tell you my personal story. Malachi, take it away. Hurry up, get over here. Oh, they can't see you, sir. Okay, go ahead.
The mask by the car. We wear the mask at
Grins and Lies.
Grins and Lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This depth that we pay for human guile. For torn up hearts, for torn and bloody.
We smile.
We smile.
Thank you. So he's just working on that, and so I said that he could do it. But this, one of the first things that you said, Brother Shamari, was that things that we have to work on is crime and violence in the Black community. And that's something that's dear to my heart, because I've been I've been victimized by that. In 2019, my son, Eric Dorsey Hammond, was murdered at Broad and Olney. My life changed since that. He went out to get something and never came back. He died on May the 5th. And that's what my poem was all about. And you look back and you think, boy, it seems just like yesterday. And the things that have helped me to go through this is the things that are going to help us all during 2021. I'm urging people to tell their stories. That's why I belong to Keepers of the Culture. We are telling the stories. The word family gives us knowledge to go on. And a group that's very dear to me is Every Murder is Real. It's a group that I hope you never have to be a member of. It's a group that's located in Germantown, 6900 Haynes Street. It's a 501c3 group. It's community-based healing group, one family to another. Now, we need to find groups like this. We need to form groups. We need to be part of groups that help, because the police and our government, they've kind of failed us. You know, we do things like for Amir does victims compensation. It does applications. It helps to virtually support families. It helps victim activism. And it's a very educational group. You know, when one person dies in our community, we are a whole family. And it affects that whole family. We all grieve. We all have to jump into action. And I'm asking in my son's name, that we become activists, that we do something in 2021. We just can't lay dormant because nobody's doing anything. We got up to 500 murders this year. We thought that it would be lower because of the COVID-19, but it actually increased. We can't have that. When I talk about the river overflowing, I'm talking about that river of crime, that river of blood, that river of tears. And I know that we can do better because we have the strength within our own community to do it. We have the strength within ourselves. Now, I'm only a member of two groups, Keepers of the Culture, for telling stories, and the grief group, Amir, Every Murder is Real. That was started 10 years ago, maybe longer, by CEO Victoria Green. Now, her son was murdered, and she didn't have any help to go to. So she started the help of her own for other people. And that's what we have to do. We don't have anybody to go to but ourselves. So we have to really be advocates for ourselves and help ourselves. We can't have another year of crime like this, the crime and the violence, and people taking us over. We are strong. We are positive, and we will do it for ourselves. And my message to everybody is to stop the violence now. And if you want to get in touch with Amir Group, the number is 215-848-4068. And we need all kinds of help. You know, the government doesn't help these agencies like they should. They don't give us any money. You know, we need financial aid from other people. We need it from our community. We need volunteers. We need all kinds of support. So if you're going to start an organization or if you're going to be a part of a solution, I invite people to do it. I don't want to be on a soapbox, but my convictions are very strong as a storyteller, as a warrior mother, you know, as a griot, as an elder. I'm asking everybody to, you know, come out of the woodworks and help. Be brave. Sometimes the criminals get off because the victims aren't protected and the victims won't speak up. They're scared. And I guess I can understand that. But we have to do better. In 2021, we are the ones. So,
Mama Irwin, can you give the contact information one more time for Amir or the other organizations?
The Amir means Every Murder is Real. It's a healing center. And it's located at 59 Haynes Street. right in the church there. And the number is 215-848-4068. And we are a 501c3 organization. So the number again is 215-848-4068. CEO is Victoria Green. So, you know, let's pull together. Harambe. Pull together.
Harambe. Let's pull together. Pop out. Know something, Brother Nasheed Ali, storyteller Irma. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari. We'll talk to you all on Friday, 1 o'clock. Stay tuned. Peace.
Okay. Peace.
Peace.
This is a rhythm, a warrior's rhythm, victorious rhythm, a glorious rhythm. Yahoo, Yahoo, you hear it, you feel it, it's there in the spirit, it's there in the lyric, don't ever compare it. Yahoo, Yahoo, the beat of the cradle, defeating the label, the people are able to eat at the table now. Yahoo, divided by cheddar, we gotta get better, united together, we tighter than ever.